Well, if you're wondering what's happened, so am I. The computer that we have running our news from time to time took off and went wild. So what we're going to do is start over from the top. Well, if you're wondering what's happened, so am I.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Daily Grind official live stream for this NBA 9-game slate. Cannot wait to break it down, guys. Thanks for tuning in and spending your afternoon with us. Yes, this is a bit crazy. Copyrighted, non-copyrighted music.
Yeah,
I do
what was
apologize,
that?
I don't know, TJ. Just listen. I click YouTube safe mode and I play whatever it gives me, and it's apparently supposed to get us hyped up. Okay, so hopefully you guys are hyped. Hopefully you guys want to run through a wall right now. Let's go ahead and dive right into the slate. I don't want to waste any time. We started a little bit late. Thanks, TJ. I'm not going to blame anybody though. Okay. Let's go ahead and start with all of the late slate breaking injury news. TJ, let's start out with Detroit first of all, because Blake Griffin and Josh Jackson both are ruled out for the Detroit Pistons. Right now, we see Saddiq Bey, number one on the list overall. Let's just go ahead and start there. $3,900. He's projected at 30 minutes. What are your thoughts on Detroit?
Yeah, so again, we have Detroit chalk night upon us with the likes of a potential blowout going up against the Bucks. They're 16-point dogs currently, Matt, which obviously should scare a lot of you. I still think Saddiq Bey is blowout proof. So, you know, even if he does start, we obviously don't have the starting lineups yet, but we would expect him to start at the 3. I like him at 3,900 as a solid cash value play. Him and DeLon Wright are the two guys that I'm looking at for cash. I think you can get away with one of them. I probably don't want both of them in my lineup, but I could definitely see myself landing on one of these guys. Again, I am terrified of a potential blowout. You know, not because Blake Griffin isn't there to stop them, just because they are going up against the Bucks.
Very bad team too.
Correct. Very bad team in Detroit. Hey, I mean, they just took it to the Celtics the last 2 games, so maybe I'm not giving them enough credit. But I think there's some really good value here, starting with Saddiq Bey and DeLon Wright. Jeremy Grant's the guy that has been an absolute stud for them. With these guys off the floor, though, Matt, in a smaller sample size. Yeah, he's not too great, but it is a smaller sample size, and I like what I saw, you know, from him to start the year. And you know, he's played pretty well. Played pretty well against the Celtics too. Definitely putting up shots for Detroit. But for cash, I'm looking at Saddiq Bey. I'm looking at DeLon Wright as last pieces from me.
Last pieces. Okay, so you're not starting your builds with Saddiq Bey or DeLon Wright?
Not right now.
Okay. So that's very interesting. So right now we have a $3,900 price tag. Saddiq Bey, he's averaging over a fantasy point per minute, and he's projected at 30 minutes. Again, the huge question mark is, are these guys going to get blown out? Because if they are going to get blown out, you can expect Saddiq Bey, DeLon Wright not to play with the third stringers and sit out the entire fourth quarter. That is a huge possibility. This is the biggest. Alec Burks. Okay, so we will get to that in just a second. Detroit and Milwaukee, the biggest spread on the slate. Milwaukee, a 16-point favorite, and the Detroit Pistons are projected to score the least amount of points on the entire slate. Now, do I think this is bad chalk? Not necessarily. If they can keep it close, I think Saddiq Bey is going to absolutely smash value. Like I said, he's over a fantasy point per minute player and projected at 30 minutes. And we saw what he did last time he was starting. He got 32.75 points. So if you miss out on that value, well, good night. I mean, he is going to absolutely smash his value. So start there. DeLon Wright, though, I'm not that high on at $4,000. I do think he might be a necessity, though, in cash games, 31% on the second highest on the slate. Again, both of these guys, they have to be plug and plays at this point, getting too many minutes. If they don't blow out the Detroit Pistons, I think that they will be in play. Do you have any interest in some of these other players? Mason Plumlee, Killian Hayes, anybody? Jeremy Grant. You just talked about Jeremy Grant, but do you have any interest in those two?
Not in cash. If I were to go anywhere, I'd probably go Plumlee. But I think Bey and Wright are the two guys that are carrying the ownership, and rightfully so. But again, I had a lineup that I liked without either of them. I think I'm probably going to have to get one of them in there, though. Just not sure where I'm going to go between the two currently. But yeah, they're carrying the ownership. Totally makes sense to me. Getting starter minutes, so. I think they're both definitely cash viable.
And again, we still have injury news pending. So, like, for instance, if Doncic ends up not playing, that's going to entirely break the slate. And these guys won't be as strong. Right. But listen, guys, I want to pause the stream just real quick. Please smash that like button. If you guys want to see this channel continue to grow, we noticed that, hitting that like button really does help us, especially on live streams. We got 380 viewers 2 nights ago. If we could see something similar to that, it would be greatly appreciated. Again, continue to smash that button. Also, I'll be doing another $10 giveaway. I'm going to keep doing this until you guys don't show any interest in the $10 giveaways. We're going to do this every single night. Please comment your favorite contrarian play. At the very end of the stream, I will announce the winner. I'm going to go down the list. The first one to name my favorite contrarian play on the entire slate will get $10. And again, you have to take a picture of you signed in to the YouTube and then DM us on Twitter to claim that $10 prize if I announce that you did win.
Matt, just a suggestion. We could just have them put their Twitter handle in the chat. I think that works.
That's a great idea too.
Just to not overcomplicate it.
Sure. Let's go ahead and switch gears here to the next teams or next couple teams on the slate that are going to be chalky. I can't talk right now. Do you want to go ahead and move on to the Knicks?
I mean, not particularly, but we can. I just don't have any of the minutes updated, obviously. I'm doing the numbers now for the Knicks. Nothing really pops out. I feel like Alfred Payton would potentially become a really good play if he is going to get, 34 to 35 minutes. But I think there's some value elsewhere, even with Alec Burks being ruled out.
Okay, then let's go ahead and do this. TJ, let's move on to your Boston Celtics while we wait. Celtics have ruled out Jeff Teague, and they are also are without Kemba Walker, as we know, and they are also without Langford and potentially Marcus Smart. I don't believe we have any information on him yet. But if Marcus Smart does sit, this team does have a ton of value across the board. Where are you looking as of right now? Just talking about Marcus Smart, let's just hypothetically say he is in. Are you looking at anybody in cash?
So if Smart is in, probably not. I do like that Tatum price tag at 8,600 still. So I could see me potentially getting him in a cash lineup. I'd be off of JB right now, even though he's playing absolutely out of his mind. Peyton Pritchard is a guy that obviously comes to mind and people are going to have questions on. 3,700, I wouldn't mind him as a last piece. I think you're probably safer going with Saddiq Bey or DeLon Wright. But at 3,700, if Marcus Smart is out, then I would assume Peyton Pritchard gets the start and he's going to be a lock 100%. I still really like him, Matt. 0.75 fantasy point per minute. 28 minutes off the bench. He's been very productive for the Celtics. And now with Jeff Teague out, he will be that main ball handler for, first guy off the bench for us. So I still like him. I think he is a piece that you can go to, but I still think there's maybe some better value out there. But I'm keeping my eye on that Marcus Smart pending news. If Marcus Smart is out, I'll probably end up having 2 Celtics, honestly, in my cash lineup tonight.
The one thing with the Celtics, Toronto, Detroit, the couple teams that we talked about so far, a very low over-under on these first two teams. And I don't like that. I wish that we're getting value from these high over-unders, which we do already. We already have a couple value plays. But right now, these guys are coming from these low over-unders, and it's really scaring me, TJ. I don't like to be playing these guys in low over-unders. You know that. And it just could set up for some really bad chalk. So Jason Tatum, though, $8,600. Eye test is he's very undervalued. And we saw what he did last game. We know that Jason Tatum should be doing this for the rest of the season. Should be priced pretty close to 9K at this point in the season. 21.7% owned, borderline cash / GPP option. I can agree with you there. Tristan Thompson, though, $4,400, coming back from an injury, 26 minutes. He's projected to start, I do believe, at 20.7%. Do you have any interest in him? Sorry if I missed that, if you already talked about him.
No, I actually didn't talk about it. Yeah, he's been pretty good. He rates out to, he gets a 0.09 usage boost with those guys off the floor. He's a 0.93 fantasy point per minute. He's a 5.5 on his sheet, Matt. So I think he's kind of a borderline play. But I don't think I'm going to get there in cash.
Got it.
There's a lot of value tonight. And I think you can go a lot of different directions. So it's kind of finding your core guys that you really want in your lineups and going from there. So I think there's certain builds where you're going to land on a guy like Tristan Thompson or land on a guy like Peyton Pritchard. And I personally think that's okay. But the current build that I have, I'm not landing on either of those guys, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I think they're bad cash options.
Sure. No, I think Jason Tatum could make for a last great spot. If you're looking to pay up somewhere, I don't hate Jason Tatum whatsoever. Again, $8,600. He played in the pace down game versus Detroit. Technically, they put up 122 points, but he still hit value and then some at 59.5 DK points. Definitely like him there. Pritchard, yes, I like him only in GPPs as of right now. If Marcus Smart is out, load up on Pritchard. He should play over 30 minutes, closer to 35 minutes, again, assuming he does start, which he should. Pritchard is going to be chalk, but right now he's not. Just a GPP option for me. Let's go ahead to the very last game on the slate, TJ, because this is where we're going to see a lot of the chalk. I want to start out specifically with the Sacramento Kings, a gold mine right now for value, in my opinion. I think there's a bunch of underpriced players just in general, starting with Holmes. Holmes is going to be the chalkiest player, in my opinion, at the center position here. $5,600, has been averaging 1.11 fantasy points to start the season, TJ, on a phenomenal tear here for the Sacramento Kings, getting 32 minutes and without, I believe I pronounced this wrong in the video. It's Halliburton, not Haleburton. So it's Halliburton.
Yeah.
Okay. Halliburton, not
Tyrese.
Yeah, Tyrese. So we'll just call him Tyrese. Tyrese is not going to be playing today. Same thing with Jeffries. Both would eat into any minutes that any one of these guys have. Holmes, 21.1% owned. Bagley next in the list at $5,500, 17.1%. And then Barnes. They're literally all pretty much the same exact price tag here. $5,600. Who do you have interest in? Are you playing any of these guys for chalk or for cash? Sorry.
Yeah, I like two guys, and I think starting builds with Sean Holmes is definitely smart. There's a lot of good center value tonight. There's expensive center value that you can get to, or high price guys. There's the mid-tier center value, and then there's some cheaper plays too. So I think center's absolutely loaded tonight. But yeah, having Rashawn Holmes as a staple in my center position is going to be a key thing for me tonight at 5,600. Look, he's been so good for Sacramento. He's been taking over what I kind of thought Marvin Bagley was going to be this year, coming back and being healthy. They're still obviously working Marvin Bagley back with minutes. But yeah, Rashawn Holmes has been on a tear to start the year, 5,600. Matt, you alluded to his point, fantasy point per minute. It's currently a 1.11. And with those guys off the floor, he gets a 1.3% usage bump. So he's a 6.5 on our sheet, or 6.43, excuse me. So I really like Rashawn Holmes in this matchup against Golden State. I talked about it last night a little bit. I said I really had interest in Nurkic going up against the Golden State bigs. I had half of it right because it was Cantor that completely dominated with the 2010 double-double. So I'll give myself half a point, right? Because I didn't get Nurkic, but I did say, the Portland Trailblazers bigs could dominate against Golden State. I think the same can be said tonight for Sacramento. So I love Holmes at 5,600. Harrison Barnes is another guy that just always flies under the radar in terms of his price. And he always gets like mid to high 30 minutes. And I think he can easily pay off this price tag in this matchup against Golden State, and the highest over under that we see at 5,600. He is a 0.97 fantasy point per minute, which obviously isn't anything crazy, but if he is going to see 35 to 37 minutes, I really like him again as a staple in my cash lineups. I think you can go to De'Aaron Fox if you need to at 8,200. I think he's a pretty good cash option. And then Marvin Bagley, I think at 5,500. I think I would rather go with Rashawn Holmes for sure. I'm waiting to see that breakout game from Marvin Bagley. But again, there's a lot of value here, Matt. Buddy Hield at 6% ownership, I think, is a fantastic tournament play at 6,800. So a lot of value in this whole, this game as a whole. I like that it's a 2-point spread. So I'm all aboard this game.
Yeah, it should be competitive. You pretty much named every single player, so I'm getting the sense you're okay with loading up on the Kings here for cash at least. No, yeah, I think you start your builds with Holmes. I really do. I think this is the most obvious play on the entire slate. If there are injuries, I still think he's very obvious. Starting at the center position, $5,600 is way too cheap for Richaun Holmes at this price tag. So let me pitch to you, TJ. Do you have any interest in Hassan Whiteside?
No, stop. Leave Hassan Whiteside out of this. What is your deal? Is it because he's protected for 7 minutes?
Okay,
he's not.
But listen,
he didn't play against Houston last game.
Right,
no, I don't want to hear it. No, stop.
All right. How about Golden State? What about Golden State? Are we switching over and we're talking about about Curry here? Steph Curry, is he the only person we're going to be talking about as far as cash goes?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you can go to Wiggins if you really want to. He's been playing a little bit better as of late. But yeah, I just think it's Steph for me. I'm locking him in at 9,300. We saw what he did against Portland last night. 62 points, 36 minutes. Again, a close competitive game is something we could see tonight against Sacramento. I fully expect him to play 35 minutes again. He's going to chuck up 12 to 15 threes. If he can get you 6 or 8 of those, he'll be well on his way to hitting value. The one thing that I liked last night is he was a lot more aggressive than he had been in the past. He attempted 19 free throws. Which is by far the most. He had yet to attempt double-digit free throws on the season. So I liked he was getting in the paint, getting contact, and getting to the line, which obviously we know how good he is from the free throw line. He's only missed 1 free throw on the year. So this is a guy that hit 105 threes consecutively in that video that was circulating around Twitter. So we know how fantastic he is at shooting. So yeah, Steph, 9,300. He's going to be another cash play for me. I really like him at averaging 1.53 fantasy points per minute on the year, 35% usage rate. He's a 5.76 on our sheet. And again, those high price guys over like 8,500, if they can get above a 5.5 on our sheet, rates out to a fantastic play. So I love Steph.
TJ, to be completely honest, I think Steph Curry is the most obvious play in the slate. $9,300. I think you got to start your cash builds with Steph Curry. I get it, guys. I know it's obvious, but listen, it's the highest over under, and we just saw what he did in a very high over under a competitive game. He's going to do exactly the same thing, if not more, against Sacramento. I know that's hard to say, but Sacramento has worse defense than the Portland Trailblazers. So, we said in the stream it was going to be a battle of the point guards. We saw either Steph Curry or Damian Lillard was going to dominate, and definitely Steph Curry stepped up to the challenge. He has not been handling that criticism well. He's definitely stepped up and shown why he's one of the better players in the entire NBA. $9,300, you won't see him this cheap, guys. You just simply will not see him this cheap at all at this point. He's going to get up to 10K as we see him progress with this team. Andrew Wiggins, though, $6,600.
Marcus Smart is out tonight.
Okay, so let's do it. TJ. Do you want to go straight to the Boston Celtics?
Not yet. I gotta run some stuff, but yeah, Marcus Smart's out.
How about the Knicks?
It's Peyton Pritchard night. Wow, that just screwed. Finally get a lineup. And
it's usually how it goes.
I'm not gonna have any interest in the Knicks. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I get they're going up against Atlanta. I think there's going to be good tournament plays here. I think you can go to a guy like RJ Barrett. We saw him kind of come out of his slump, I guess, a little bit. He shot 53% from the field against the Pacers last game, and that was with Alec Burks on the sidelines again. Alfred Payton played pretty well as well. So I think even with Alec Burks being out, and Toppin as well, I think they're still, and Dennis Smith and Frank, not that they really eat into anybody's value. I think that's strictly going to be tournament plays here from the Knicks. I just think there's too much value elsewhere.
Well, let me do this. While you compute the Boston Celtics, I'm going to go ahead.
I don't know if there's going to be...
Okay.
No, keep talking. Yep, go ahead.
I was going to go ahead and compute the Knicks just to see if we can see anything on the radar for the Knicks.
I did, and there was nothing.
There was nothing? Okay, well then I wouldn't waste
my time.
The
sample size for the Celtics, too, is going to be way too minimal, especially this year. So I'd have to go to the last 2 seasons, and that's obviously going to be with Pritchard off. I'm going to assume Pritchard is going to start at point guard, and he's probably going to now be the chalkiest play on the slate, or one of them.
I will say this, guys, for anybody wondering about the Knicks, if you want tournament plays, the one thing I do like about the Knicks is they are in a pace-up spot. They're playing one of the higher-paced teams in the entire NBA. It's about to say NFL. Julius Randle, 9,000. I don't know. I can't get myself out of the NFL mindset. I don't know. Julius Randle, $9,000 is still not that bad of a price tag. If you want him at low ownership, he's obviously going to take all the usage, and that will definitely benefit him. The one thing I don't like is his matchup versus Capella, which we'll talk about in just a second. Mitchell Robinson is very
$5,700,
very cheap at $5,700. So I do like him as a GPP option, but I'm honestly gonna say nowhere else. Maybe Elfrid Payton, but he'd have to have an absolute ceiling game, and they'd have to keep it really close. And I don't see this really being a close matchup here versus the Knicks. Those are the only guys I like from the Knicks.
Yeah, Matt, there just isn't a good sample size. Even if you're bringing last year into the picture, you have to take off Teague, Kemba. You have to take off Marcus Smart now. You have to obviously take off Gordon Hayward because
Celtics.
Gordon Hayward was a huge, huge beneficiary with those guys off the floor. So you can't, I don't feel confident leaving him in. And then Brad Wanamaker is obviously off the team now. So I guess we can keep Brad on and see what we have for a sample size. But I just don't think we're going to have anything too significant.
All right, so listen, guys, if you thought Sadiq Bey and Delon Wright was going to be chalky before the stream, Peyton Pritchard is now going to be the most obvious play on the slate. He is playing well over 30 minutes a game, 30 minutes in this matchup, and it's going to be a very competitive matchup. In the other matchup, you don't get that guaranteed benefit of it being really competitive. In this matchup, you can assume it's going to be really, really competitive between the Celtics and Toronto. So you can assume that Pritchard's going to get the minutes. Over 32 minutes, I'd say, TJ. You know the Celtics more than I do, but I can only assume.
He'll probably, I don't know if they'll run him into the ground just because he is still a rookie. I think like 30 minutes is pretty safe, 30, 32.
Well, who else would play? That's my question.
Yeah, that is, that would be the question. I don't know. Carson Edwards could get some time, I guess, at 3K. Maybe makes for an interesting tournament play. But besides that, that's all they have at the guards. So potentially a lot of ball handling for maybe Tatum and Jaylen Brown as well.
That's a good point.
I think this is gonna make Tatum a lock as well. I'm about to hit you with some numbers, Matt.
Okay.
So this year, first handful of games that we got in this year and last year with Jeff Teague, Kemba, Marcus Smart, and Gordon Hayward off the floor, Tatum gets an 8.7% usage bump and averages 1.4 fantasy points per minute, 37.5% usage rate, and a 6.37 on our sheet, Matt. We're looking at Jaylen Brown, 6.37 on our sheet. Then if we look at JB at 8,300, he gets a 3.7% usage bump with said guys off the floor. Only a 1.2 fantasy point per minute. But you got to take into consideration, I already think he's made a huge jump from last year to this year. But even still, I think that I'm really going to like Tatum now and Peyton Pritchard, just as long as I see that Pritchard's starting, which he is. So I would assume that Pritchard does get the start. Yeah, Matt, I think 30 to 32 minutes is fine. Carson Edwards will come off the bench probably and have the backup point guard minutes. So I'm going to have some interest in him in tournaments as well at 3K. Just tournaments, though. Nothing for cash. Okay. And that's kind of where my Celtics thoughts are.
Okay. No, I agree with everything you just said. I honestly do think that Pritchard's going to be playing closer to 34 minutes just because they have nobody else. Just looking at this roster, I know I'm no Celtics insider, but
don't come at my Celtics roster.
I'm sorry.
Don't come at my Celtics
I won't talk about the Celtics anymore then. But yeah, I think he's going to be playing upward of he could play upward of 34 minutes depending on how he does, TJ. This is a very good defensive team with Toronto, so he's going to be up to the task here against Lowry and this team. Now, does this give you any more interest in the Toronto side? I think that the pace of this game could obviously speed up for sure.
Not for cash. No, I still think there's better plays elsewhere. For tournament, sure. For cash, no.
Okay. I can agree with you there. All right. Do you want to talk about Orlando now?
I don't want to talk about anybody except the Celtics. Yes, I want to talk about Orlando.
All right. Let's move over to the Magic then. Right now we have Terrence Ross not out. Sorry, that's the wrong guy. We have Ennis, we have Fournier out, and we have Isaac and Amino officially out for these guys. So let's talk about Terrence Ross. A 5.9K price tag. What are his usage rates and points per minute looking like?
So Terrence Ross with Fournier off the floor gets where are you, Terrence Ross? There you are. Gets a 1.7% usage bump, averages 1.24 fantasy points per minute, and garners a 28.7% usage rate, which is the highest on the team. I really like him again at 5,900. We saw what he just did against OKC. Coming off the bench, he was an absolute animal. Paid off his price tag immensely, finished with 40.5 Draftkings points at 5,200. I do understand that he did get a price bump at 5,900 now, but I still think that he is cash viable, especially with Fournier out. I want to see what his projected ownership gets updated to, Matt. He's currently showing 1%. That's obviously with Fournier still being on the floor. So I'm interested to see what happens there. But he's really the only guy that I'll have interest in cash. Fultz got a price bump. Vooch, I think, is going to make for another good tournament play at 8,800.
He averages 1.42 fantasy points per minute, by the way. That's not bad at all.
Yep. No, not bad at all. 25% usage rate, which is right there with, Fultz, Terrence Ross. So I still think he's going to be more of a tournament play for me, though. Yeah, I think if I'm going anywhere for cash, it's going to be Terrence Ross.
I do have an ownership update for you. Fultz at 9.6%, Michael Carter-Williams at 16.7%, and then we have Terrence Ross all the way down here at 5.1%. So we saw, we saw this kind of ownership on the last slate when he was not that chalky, and he crushed value. I think he was only like 17% owned on the last slate. Yeah, I just think a lot of people are going to go to the Celtics game now. Makes sense.
I think a lot of people are going to Detroit for value. I think a lot of people are going to Sacramento and Golden State. So
it's definitely going to be a stud kind of night as well.
Yeah, if that's somewhere where I can get different and go to Terrence Ross, I do like him.
Yeah, for sure. I completely agree with you. But again, it's just another game where it's a low over-under. It could hurt you. But again, Terrence Ross just gets those number boosts, and you can't look away from somebody like that. You can only assume that Orlando's going to actually put up over 100, and I think they're projected at 110 points. So it's not too bad. I just hate the low over-unders on this slate.
The low over-under stink. I mean, they put up 99 points against OKC last game when Fournier was out, and Ross still smashed value. So I still think it can be done, even though they don't have the highest team total over-under.
All right, so let me get into this category, TJ. So it's obviously going to be a stud and dud kind of night. So if we're going to be paying up for guys, where are we looking? Let's just talk about every single game at this point. Okay. The most obvious chalk pay up options on the slate, starting with Steph. Where else are we going? Jason Tatum.
So I think Tatum now would probably be my second favorite at 8,600. If you're talking about studs above Steph, I really don't think any of them are cash necessary.
Okay.
I think if I'm going anywhere, it'd probably be Joel Embiid against those Charlotte bigs at 9,900.
Okay.
He dominated Charlotte in the first half last game, and then it was a blowout, so he didn't really play in the fourth quarter. Actually, did Charlotte bring that game back? I need to get the popcorn machine for that because I want to see because they are playing Charlotte again. It was 127. Okay, I need to bring up the popcorn machine real quick. Give me 1 second here. I want to see what Joel had for minutes. He did get a full run in the fourth.
Okay. So one thing we haven't talked about yet is this high over-under in the Houston-Dallas game. And Doncic is still only 10.3K. So I do think he's cash viable. And he's actually carrying a decent amount of ownership at 16.5%. I believe all the studs' ownership will go up the further we get, the closer we get to lock here. So I think Doncic is another great cash option, a cash pay-up option. I think people are going to prefer him over Joel Embiid. Sorry to ran your parade, TJ.
No. That's where I was going to go Luka next. I think those would be the two guys. If I'm going over Steph for cash, I think I would go Joel or Luka. But again, I like starting my builds with Steph.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Steph Curry is going to be an automatic lock pretty much in every contest for me. I'm not going to have 100% exposure, but it's going to be pretty darn close at this point. All right.
Then another guy, Matt, I think, I just wanted to touch base. I think you can go De'Aaron Fox at 8,200 too. I just like the uptick in this match.
Okay. Completely agree with you there. Real quick on the positive stream, guys, if you could smash that like button, it really did help us in the last couple streams. We got over 380 viewers on that one stream where you guys were smashing that like button for us, so please do that. Also, comment your favorite contrarian play on the slate. I still haven't seen it yet, so again, people are overlooking this guy. He's a buy low candidate. I'll give you guys a hint. Very buy low because nobody is talking about him, and again, he's very cheap. And he's made into a couple optimals so far this season. All right. We've tried to cover every single person we possibly could, and this allotted amount of time. Capella, yes, that's another good one. So let's talk about Capella. Capella, I almost went to Houston. Capella is $6,100, guys. You're gonna see him creep up to $7,000. I absolutely guarantee it. Averaging 1.21 fantasy points per minute. I believe I memorized that right. 23. 1.3, even better. Yep. And he's averaging the same as Trae Young, okay? At 23.9% ownership is definitely going to be one of my cash locks. I think if you're going to go a double center build, you have to go the Holmes and Capella. I think that will be a very chalky build. Don't hate it. Getting Steph Curry in there. What are your thoughts on Capella? Are you prioritizing him in cash builds?
Yeah, so my lineup now that I had that obviously I have to go back and change because of Celtics news, everything else. It was Capella at my center position, then Holmes in my util. The only other guy that I think I would be considering right now for cash at the center position would probably be Christian Wood at 7,400. But I think I would rather save the money and get to Capella and Rashawn Holmes.
All right. Yep, I completely agree with you there. The
Atlanta another
Hawks,
guy that's another guy, real quick. I'm sorry, that's carrying some ownership, and you talked about him last game. I think it was last stream. LaMelo Ball at 5,600.
We got like
is
3
very good on the
comments
sheet
about him in our YouTube comments.
Yeah, he's very good on the sheet, Matt. He's a 1.24 fantasy point per minute off the bench for Charlotte, 23% usage rate. He rates out to a 6.2. Again, I wouldn't be surprised if somewhere down the line he is starting at the point guard position over Devontae Graham.
He should be.
Yeah,
I really do think he should be. And again, we saw another decent blowout. So that's the only thing that concerns me. It's like, how many minutes will he play in a very competitive matchup? Will he be in there with the starters? I don't know. I just don't know.
Yeah, no, he has played some good minutes alongside Rozier and Gordon Hayward. So, he played 31 minutes against Philly, which was huge. Played 29 against Dallas. Again, some of these games weren't too close. But again, I think like 26 to 28 is a safe number, even if the game blows out. Yeah. Or a competitive, whatever way you want to play.
Yeah, he got the highest amount of minutes he got all season long, very last game. Right. So it's trending upwards, guys. It's going from 29, 27 to 31. Just saying. Definitely a great GPP option. Still carrying 11.1%, so people are finally starting to notice him, but still very, very low. All right, TJ, where are you going to go? I feel like we covered everything.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we covered all the chalk. We talked about Sacramento and Golden State. I just saw a comment saying, I don't know about Steph. I don't think he'll repeat last night. Don't expect him to repeat last night, but I still think he's a fantastic value at 9,300. Yeah. I'm not expecting him to come out and get 75 DraftKings points, but I still think he should pay off that 9,300 price tag pretty easily against Sacramento if that game stays competitive. We talked about Detroit and the value there and the cheap plays in Sadiq Bey and DeLon Wright. We touched base on Capella and LaMelo Ball. We talked about that Celtics value now. I want to wait and see what's going on with that ownership with Peyton Pritchard and Tatum. So yeah, I think we pretty much covered all the cash plays if you want to get to questions or if you want to jump right into some tournament plays.
Real quick, guys, I have not seen my contrarian play. When I get contrarian, this guy's completely off everybody's board, okay? A very contrarian play.
Guys, you already said it. It was Hassan Whiteside. Someone type in Hassan Whiteside.
No, it's not. It's not Hassan Whiteside. I would get roasted. You guys would probably stop watching the streams if I said Hassan Whiteside was my contrarian play.
I would hang up. I would just hang up.
No, this player is completely off everybody's radar. I believe I talked about him in the video.
This guy has hands. He'll play probably like hands. 8 minutes.
He definitely has hands.
He has feet, but they don't work too well.
Yeah. The bonus was my contrarian play 2 nights ago, and then my last night, guys, it was Thomas Bryant. Just saying. He ended up winning some tournaments.
Very good last night. Yeah. Matt, I keep seeing my guy Woodsy Owl asking Horford or Horford, and I'm gonna give the same answer. It's Terrence Ross. If you're asking me Horford or Horford, the answer is Terrence Ross.
It makes sense.
The answer is Terrence Ross. So let's Matt, let's try and dive into some. I just saw somebody mention a name that I really liked tonight before all these injuries. Bobby Portis playing some good minutes for the Bucks off the bench.
He's a beast.
All right, Matt, I'm going to look at some messages here and see if I can wade through everybody trying to guess your contrarian plays.
Sorry about that.
Woodsy has been asking. No, you're fine. LaMelo Ball is worth considering, definitely. Peyton Pritchard and Jaylen Brown. If Marcus Smart is out, I think I lean Peyton Pritchard and Tatum, but I really don't hate Brown. He's been incredible. Woodsy asked Horford like 20 times.
He gets it.
Yeah. Paradox asking any interest in the Knicks with Burks out. I think there's just too much value elsewhere. I think there's some good tournament plays there.
I got 2 questions real quick. I'm leaning on going a bit cheaper at the center, and best part is that they have 2 of my favorite plays at the center with Capella and Holmes. Are those 2 great cheaper plays? Yeah, absolutely. Those are the favorite plays. I believe you should start out your cash builds with those 2 centers plus Steph Curry. How is this for single entry? It's a FanDuel lineup. TJ, you ready to listen to this?
Hit me.
It's Steph Curry, Pritchard, Terrence Ross, Van Vliet, Hunter, DiVincenzo, Randall, Tatum, Mitchell Robinson. That's a little too contrarian for my liking. I believe you need to get to some more value plays, but overall, I like the build. That's going to win a Millie Maker probably. No, I'm just kidding. But listen, you need to get a little bit more chalky. That's one conversation we had in the Discord, guys. You guys are getting really, really contrarian. You don't need to get that contrarian in basketball because the ownerships are always so inflated. We see some guys in GPPs that are like 60% owned. Okay, you don't need to get that contrarian. All right, that's it. That's it for me.
Okay. Michael Carter-Williams with Fournier out. I lean Terrence Ross. Michael Carter-Williams got that price bump at 4,600. I don't think he's a cash necessity tonight. Tatum over Brown or stack them two with Pritchard. I think you go one of them with Pritchard. So for GPPs, definitely don't go Tatum and Brown. Go one of them with Pritchard. Tatum and Brown both for cash. I think you just use one. They could both really have big games, man. They've been so good. Bledsoe cash viable. No, not tonight. Best cash play for tonight. You got Rashawn Holmes, you got Steph, you got Clint Capella, like Matt just said. I think those are all very good cash plays.
Pritchard's going to be my favorite cash play.
Yeah, you got Pritchard too. Sorry, I keep forgetting because I keep updating. And
we're basically building a lineup at this point, TJ.
Yeah. TJ, who will be a more enthusiastic cheerleader, Jeff Teague or Kemba? Kemba will, 100%.
That's a great question.
For cash, Pritchard, Curry brothers, Tatum, Barnes, Holmes, Sadiq Bey, and John Wall. Thoughts? I do like that. Seth Curry isn't going to carry ownership, but he actually rates out pretty well on our sheet, Matt.
Seth or Steph?
He wants Seth and Steph.
Okay.
Seth's actually averaging 0.99 fantasy points per minute, starting with those, with Joel Simmons, Tobias, and Danny Green. Yeah, he's been playing pretty well. He rates out to a 5.7 on our sheet. All right, Garland's out, so that. Oh my God. Okay, so there's just going to be value everywhere now. Okoro is also out. Okay. Chips is laying on my feet. All right, so we need to dive into Cleveland, unfortunately. I want to see how this affects. Again, this is the lowest over under that we have on the slate, or second lowest between Cleveland and Orlando. So I wouldn't put too much stock into it. Sexton is priced up pretty high at 7,200, but I do want to see what it looks like with Garland off the floor.
He's the best player in the NBA, probably.
Okay. Guys, Matt probably drank too much G Fuel, so let's ignore him. So we have to list out Kevin Love. We have to list out Garland, and we have to list out Okoro. And the sample size is going to be like 8 minutes. Yep. So Sexton's a 0.92 fantasy points per minute.
Is it worth even computing? I was just doing it.
Probably not.
Okay.
I'm going to do the last 2 seasons and see what we see for Colin Sexton. A 0.98 fantasy point per minute. But that's with the likes of Jordan Clarkson on there, who would obviously eat into his usage in fantasy point per minute last year. Yep. So yeah, just tournament plays for me. I'm not gonna sit here and act like Sexton is a cash play now.
Sexton's birthday apparently.
Okay, so Sexton's birthday with Garland out. I mean, the guy's going for 70. Tournament play for sure. This might give Dante Exum the start at 3,900. Throw him into the mix too, which is just aggravating. I'd still rather lean Pritchard.
Again, low over under guys. Don't look too much into that. I still like Pritchard more than any one of those guys.
All right, let's see.
Dotson starting.
Ooh, someone said Dotson starting. Okay.
Let me take a look at
Dotson's so cheap at 3,200. He's way better than. That makes sense that they wouldn't start Exum and Sexton, both point guards, that they would go Dotson. Okay. Yeah. No, Matt, don't over. It's fine. He's not gonna tournament play. Not a cash play.
I'm trusting you.
Okay. Sexton birthday over LeBron birthday. Yes, 100%. Trey over Curry for GPPs. Yes, Steph's going to carry a lot of ownership, and Trey is not. So I would like that. Trey Young's been pretty meh. It's been pretty meh.
Yeah, only averaging 1.3 fantasy points on the season. But listen, guys, he has a good team now. You can't hate him for that.
Yep. So yeah, I do like him over Curry for some for a contrarian play. Sexton, if Garland is out, yeah, that's going to be the question. I don't think you're going to need him for cash, but I really wouldn't hate him. Here we go, Matt. We got a lineup here. We got Pritchard, DeLon Wright, Tatum, Barnes, Holmes, Steph Curry, Oladipo, and Capella for cash.
I like that.
The only guy I really
Oladipo?
don't. Yeah, Oladipo would be the one guy that sticks out just in terms of
low ownership.
Yeah, low ownership. I think like a guy like Jeremy Grant would probably have twice as much ownership as him tonight. But I don't hate that. Kind of like Buddy Hield more at 6,800.
You like Michael Carter-Williams for cash? Yeah, as a last piece, but I wouldn't prioritize him. Definitely not a bad option.
John Wall for cash. John Wall was somebody that I did have in my cash build earlier. I think even with Harden on the floor, he can be super productive.
He's been really good.
Yeah, he's been fantastic to start the year. I'm trying to find my Rockets values, but they're all color coordinated. I can't find them. Where are the Rockets?
I don't mind the Rockets at all. I think I actually do think they have a good roster here. Christian Wood has been balling out. John Wall's been balling out. If anything, it hurts James Harden. That's the only guy that I really don't like night in and night out, just because he doesn't have as high of a usage as he's had in the past. So that's the only thing I don't like.
So John Wall, Matt, with Harden on the floor, is averaging 1.34 fantasy points per minute.
That's good.
33% usage rate and a 6.34 on our sheet. So I had him in my cash lineup. I don't know if he's going to make it now just because of all, the tinkering we're going to have to do with everybody getting ruled out here late. But I don't hate him as a last piece.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you.
Dotson or Bay, I would still go Bay. Any love for RJ Barrett, last piece in cash? Not for cash, but again, I think he makes for a decent tournament play. John Wall undervalued. Yes.
Hold on, TJ. All the cash questions that we're getting, guys. If you're looking for last pieces, again, the Sacramento Golden State game is a game you're going to want to target. You're going to target Pritchard for value. You're going to target the 2 Detroit guys, Wright and Sadiq Bey. Okay, that should give you enough leeway to make a really good cash build. And also, Doncic is a pay up option, a really good pay up option for cash. Start your builds there.
I might not have any of these Detroit guys in my lineups, honestly, for cash. I know that's crazy, but I still might not.
Well, it might not be that crazy. We're still waiting for ownership to adjust.
Yep. I still think they're really good plays just because they're going to see minutes. I do get scared of the blowout. I think Sadiq Bey would be more prone to play minutes in a blowout than DeLon Wright would.
TJ.
Yep.
Ownership updated. Pritchard, 35.5% owned, is the highest owned on the slate. Sadiq Bey, the second highest. I agree with both of those. I think both of those are great chalk. Jason Tatum, 25.1%. That's another guy that we keep putting by the wayside. I agree. I think that's a very good cash play. Clint Capella's still up there. Rashawn Holmes, right? Did we nail that? I mean, we nailed the cash, but before the ownership updated. Steph Curry's actually down here, but I do like him as well. Tristan Thompson's not that far down there also, TJ. So 19.4%. I think you can build a lineup. I think you can build a pretty solid lineup with all those guys. I think Doncic is the one. Apparently, my dogs think somebody's intruding the house.
Ellie, no.
Steph Curry and Doncic are going to be your chalk pay up options there. You can pretty much build a lineup there.
Yeah, I think you can go with stars and scrubs. I think some ownership's going to fall off some of these mid-tier guys, Matt.
Harrison Barnes.
Where it falls off. Yeah, Harrison Barnes. I think Terrence Ross is going to go under owned. So if Terrence Ross isn't going to be really a cash necessity just in terms of ownership, I really like him as a tournament player.
Let me see what he's looking at right now.
John Wall or Clint Capella. That's just too much of a price difference. If you're talking FanDuel, I'd probably go Capella. But I like them both. Thoughts on Dante Exum? I don't have any. Aaron Holiday a play? No. Jimmy Butler tournament. Best 5 cash plays, Matt. I think you just gave him
I just gave like an entire lineup, guys.
Yeah, he really did. I think my favorite 5 cash plays, Matt, are going to be Rashawn Holmes, Tatum, in no order. Rashawn Holmes, Tatum, Steph, Pritchard, and then one of Sadiq Bey and DeLon Wright. I think Capella's right up there too. I think that's a pretty good build. What else do we have here?
Let me see if there's any more Discord questions.
Imagine if Luka ends up sitting, you got to put Jalen Brunson in your lineups too.
For GPP, would both Capella and Holmes still be great options, or go one? It depends on how big the contest is, and it depends on the rest of your lineup, honestly. How's this for a 700-man GPP? This is a DraftKings lineup, TJ. 700-man GPP. You ready?
Yep.
Pritchard, Wright, Terrence Ross, Siakam, Capella, Lonzo Ball, Sabonis, Rashawn Holmes. I love that. I actually do like Lonzo Ball. He popped on our leverage sheet. Sorry if I gave out to Daniel House is ruled out, by the way.
Oh my God, Daniel House is ruled out. Wow. No way. That's crazy.
Well, listen, I know you're being sarcastic, but that might give some minutes to some of these backup guys.
Yeah, you could see a guy like Sterling Brown pick up some more
like that lineup,
there.
by the way. I think Lonzo Ball might be a little too contrarian for that lineup, but I do like the overall build. I really do.
What's Lonzo tonight? 6,500, 6,600?
Listen, I forgot to give out my contrarian play. Let me scroll up and make sure I get that out of the way. Let me see if anybody got it, first of all.
Bagley or Rose for GPPs? Bagley. What if Aaron Gordon could hit shots? Yeah, that'd be amazing, huh? If Aaron Gordon starts to hit shots, I want the Celtics to use their trade exception on him. Pritchard, LaMelo Ball, Wiggins, Ross, Barrett, Barnes, Sabonis, Tatum, Capella, FanDuel thoughts. I like that. I do like that. Barrett and Wiggins being your low-owned guys that that have some potential there for sure. Someone got it, Matt? Who was it?
My pick before all the injury news, first of all, somebody flying completely under the radar. We've seen him appear in 2 optimals so far. Zion Williamson is my favorite contrarian pick. Last game, he played 33 minutes against a very good defense. So, again, it's keeping his ownership low. He's had a bad stretch, but, again, both of these games have been complete blowouts. I think he has a bounce-back game again, or specifically tonight against the Indiana Pacers. He's my favorite contrarian pick at 8.1% owned. Ryan Nickerson got him.
Ryan.
If you could comment your Twitter at, we'll send you over the $10 right after the stream. But my other favorite play that a lot of you got was Harrison Barnes. He's going to be by far my favorite play. I think he's going to easily pay off his price tag tonight. It makes for a very contrarian build. And yes, I also like Siakam. I do like him.
He's
been so bad. Buy low, I'm telling you. If this was a stock market, I would be investing in Siakam right now.
Siakam's not very good going up against competent defenders. So if he gets marked by Tatum or JB, like, they'll swallow him up. That's what I think personally. His only move is to get down in the paint and try like a little fadeaway bunny jumper. And
you think he's bad?
His only offensive move besides that is he tries to spin move every time, and it just never works. So no, do I think he's bad? No, I just think Jaylen Brown and Tatum can easily lock him up.
This guy's an all-star.
But he's cheap. Yeah, he's Grant for cash. I don't think so tonight.
He's gonna dominate tonight.
Okay, Siakam
put you guys in a body bag.
If Siakam dominates tonight, I will come on stream.
What's dominant though? What is that? What does that mean?
So he's 7,700. If he goes for 45 DraftKings points, I will come on stream and eat something that is disgusting.
Yo, post in the chat what he should eat if Siakam gets 45 DraftKings points tonight. I'm putting that down. I'm actually clipping this. I'm clipping this.
Okay, go ahead. All right, guys. Matt, we got 623.
I still need to wait for the chat. So.
Oh, okay. What's your favorite play in the 8 to 9,100 range on DK for tournaments? Let's see here. I mean, Matt just gave out Zion.
I like Zion.
So I know Matt likes Zion. I like Van Vliet at 7,700. He's showing 3.8% ownership. I like John Wall at 7,600. And that would probably be where I stand. I think Colin Sexton. No, not like that.
Okay, good. All right, you have the Mayo. Then do you have Mayo? Yes, he will.
No, I don't have any Mayo in my apartment.
Okay.
Thoughts on cash, Matt? We got Pritchard, Terrence Ross, DeAndre Hunter, Tatum, Capella, Steph, Barnes, and Holmes. I like it. DeAndre Hunter is the only guy that I wouldn't be too high on in cash, but he rates out pretty well on the sheet, so I do like him. He's been really good for Atlanta.
Drink a glass of ranch water.
Ross or Healed? Oh boy.
Corky pooping. He spelled Corky wrong.
I go Terrence Ross, but I do like the potential. I think Terrence Ross is in a fantastic spot, and then I think Healed has some upside, man, in tournaments. 6,800 in that matchup. We've seen him play really well.
All right, so TJ,
power forward for cash at 5,300. Yep, I'm listening.
I'm sorry, I was gonna say we're gonna get off, but you have 2 things to choose between. If Siakam gets 45 DK points,
4,900. Yep.
You have to either Mayo or Ranch Water. Which one would you choose?
Mayo. What's Ranch Water?
Just get ranch and pour some water on it, and then drink it. I don't know.
Oh, okay. No, thank you.
Okay, so Mayo. You have to get on stream Mayo tomorrow.
Terrence Ross. All right.
You have to buy it on your way home.
Let's talk about. Okay, got it.
All right, guys. That will be the end of the stream at the 6:25. Sorry, it was a little condensed. Do apologize. We will be better going forward. Hopefully you guys enjoy the rest of the night, and I will see you all in the Discord. Have a great rest of your night, and let's cash.
See you guys. Good luck.